In Inside, we focus on a nagging concern for our global environment: methane gas emissions. The most common use for the gas is to heat homes and businesses. The problem arises when it leaks. One example lies on a patch of ocean floor off the U.S. Pacific Northwest coast. Casquejo has a story from the state of Washington.
New research from the University of Washington indicates warmer ocean water is melting crystallized methane, releasing it into the sediments and waters off the coast of Washington state. By their calculations, this patch of ocean, about a third of a mile down from the surface, has been releasing the same amount of methane as the Deepwater Horizon blowout every year for the past 40 years.
Based on that temperature trend, we then did some sediment modeling. So we used simulations to understand how that propagates into the sediments and what response a gas hydrate reservoir, which is basically methane ice, would have to that change in temperature over the last 30 years.
The question is whether all that methane is reaching the atmosphere, helping raise the Earth's temperature. So far, University of Washington researchers can't say for sure.
All we can say is that methane's released in the sediments, pretty shallow in the sediments, in response to that warming.
A few months ago, researchers aboard this ship collected sediment samples from the ocean floor about 48 kilometers off the coast of Washington state. They went to 10 different sites at depths of about 500 meters, where researchers say conditions were ripe for methane release. They're now analyzing those samples to try and determine what impact methane is having on marine life.
They expect to have some answers in about 4 months. Researchers first became aware of the potential mass methane release after a fisherman sent them a picture of an underwater bubble plume 5 years ago. If the methane is finding its way into the water, scientists warn of the potential for harm.
When you release methane out of the seafloor, it oxidizes almost immediately to carbon dioxide, and then that makes seawater more acidic and more anoxic, and that will contribute to fish kills.
And it's not just Washington state's coastal waters that could be at risk. Researchers believe the conditions for methane release are the same off the coasts of California, Oregon, and British Columbia. Casquejo, CCTV, Seattle.